All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're taking ISO 27001 and flipping it from a bureaucratic headache into, honestly, your biggest strategic advantage. We're going to unpack Lumiverse Solutions 2026 Business Guide to figure out what this standard actually means for businesses today.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. First up, the cybersecurity reality check. Then come an ISO 27001 pitfalls. 3, what consultants actually do. 4, the implementation playbook. And finally, beyond the certification box. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The cybersecurity reality check.
I mean, let's be real for a second. With remote global teams and third-party vendors constantly plugging into your internal systems, your perimeter is basically non-existent at this point. Cyber threats are evolving literally every single day, and your partners, they aren't just asking if you're secure anymore, they are demanding hard proof.
Now, ISO 27001 isn't just some compliance box you check and forget about. It demands an active, living ISMS, an information security management system. Think of it less like a massive binder gathering dust on a shelf and way more like a dynamic playbook. A playbook that helps you proactively spot risks, shield your assets, and continuously adapt as your threat landscape inevitably shifts.
So, who actually needs this? Well, whether you're scaling a SaaS platform, running a fast-moving fintech startup, or managing a heavily regulated healthcare network, this standard is pretty much non-negotiable. Actually, scratch that, it's totally non-negotiable. If you handle any sort of sensitive data where a breach could wreck your operations or destroy customer trust, getting that baseline with ISO 27001 is absolutely critical. It really does cover everyone from IT firms and cloud services to government contractors and manufacturers.
Moving on to Section 2. Common ISO 27001 pitfalls.
We have to talk about the myth versus the reality of implementing this stuff. You know, the guaranteed way to fail? Relying on paper-only policies, just downloading generic templates off the internet, and keeping sloppy asset inventories. It happens all the time. The actual path to success, though, requires actionable policies that your team actually follows in real life. It means having controls that are tightly aligned to your specific risks and maintaining highly accurate asset registers.
We've all seen that crazy pre-audit panic, right? But here's the secret. External auditors really don't care about a visually perfect policy manual. What they want is hard proof. They want to see that your team is actively living those policies on, say, a random Tuesday afternoon when no one is watching. Daily, consistent execution beats a generic, pristine template every single time. No contest.
Section 3. What consultants actually do.
A good consultant is not just a glorified checklist administrator. They're really a full lifecycle partner. They're right there in the trenches with you, handling everything from the initial gap and risk assessments all the way to drafting your ISMS documentation and running those grueling audit preps. And the best part is, they customize every single procedure to your exact risk profile, so you're never just flying blind.
All right, Section 4. The implementation playbook.
This playbook is how you go from absolute zero to fully certified without pulling your hair out. It all starts with a rigorous gap assessment to uncover your blind spots. That leads right into a highly collaborative risk assessment. Once you have that foundation, you can start designing the actual governance and ISMS procedures. Then, you roll out the technical controls, and finally, you run some really intense internal audits and certification prep. By the time audit day rolls around, you have absolutely zero surprises. Now, whatever you do, do not gloss over that control implementation phase. This isn't just about sitting around writing policies. It requires some hardcore technical verifications. You've got to run things like VAPT, which is vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. You have to actively stress test your environment under pressure just to prove that your digital locks actually hold up in the real world. And finally, Section 5, beyond the certification box.
You know, the absolute costliest mistake a business can make is treating ISO 27001 as a one-and-done compliance box. You just check it and forget it. But true resilience, that requires ongoing continuous risk evaluation. Much like SOC 2 compliance, you have to fundamentally build a culture of compliance from the ground up, where every single employee is an active participant in protecting the company's data.
Because a properly implemented ISMS isn't just about getting a shiny certificate, it delivers serious, measurable business value. You drastically cut down on security mishaps, you protect your incredibly vital IP, and, maybe most importantly, you give your sales team the ironclad proof they need to go out there and close those massive enterprise deals. Plus, it builds the absolute perfect foundation so you can easily align with other big frameworks like GDPR, HIPAA, or RBI down the road. It's a massive win-win.
So that leaves us with one really critical question to wrap things up today. Are you just chasing a certificate to hang in the lobby, or are you building a truly resilient system? Because let's face it, when a real threat comes knocking at your door, a piece of paper is not going to save you, but a living, breathing ISMS absolutely will. So take a step back and ask yourself, where